We can keep those babies face down. Actually, please don't take that out of context. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Well, let's just keep going, okay? This video was made possible thanks to my amazing patrons at patreon.com/magicalhacker. If you're not a patron and you would like me to make a video for you each month using your decks, become a patron today. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gavony Township. The show is not about me and my decks, it is about you and your decks. Whether you're a content creator that I'm collaborating with, whether you're someone that's won one of my Facebook or Twitter giveaways, or whether you're a patron of mine at patreon.com/magicalhacker. For today's episode, we've got Unspokenblood, one of my patrons, submitting a deck for me to do a deck doctor on. Before we jump into it, though, I do want to let you know that I am currently in the process of doing a Facebook giveaway. So if you're not even sure where you can find my Facebook information, you can find it at facebook.com/magicalhackermtg. There you'll see a giveaway that I'm in the process of going. Haven't had anybody enter in yet, so it's really open. If you find out the answer, you're going to be good to go. So definitely check that out if you want to see me do a gameplay on your deck. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about Unspokenblood and his Kadena Slinking Sorcerer deck. This is a 4-mana legendary 3/3 Naga wizard that says the first face-down creature spell you cast each turn costs 3 less to cast. And whenever a face-down creature enters a battlefield under your control, draw a card. So not only are you making your morph creatures free, or at least the first one make them free, but you also get to draw a card off of that. So even if you were never planning on unflipping those morph creatures, you can get into a lot of card draw with Kadena, especially if you can give those morph creatures flash. So that's going to be a huge part of this deck, I'm hoping. But let's go ahead and jump in, take a look. What I like to do when I have a deck doctor episode is I like to just get my hands dirty, to just jump on in there and just take a look at what cards are in there. Try to get an idea of what the creator decided they wanted to do with this deck. But then after that, go for trying to figure out a way how to make it better. So right now, if we put the Soul Ring with the lands, because again, I talked about this in some of my previous videos, but Soul Ring, when you've got it in your hand, you can count it as a land for the purposes of keeping an opening hand or not. So that's why I like to put it there. We've got 35 lands in here. I'd like to find room for one more land. I'm not really sure that there's anything in here that would count for that. So I'd like to find maybe another land that we can put in here. I'm not sure what to include because we do have the Alchemist Refuge in there already. Is Winding Canyons in here? Yes, it is. So we've got the Winding Canyons as well. Not sure exactly what to go for here, but we'll find something else to add in as a land. So with that out of the way, let's just go ahead. We're going to grab all these cards and put them into one category so that I can start looking at them and start putting them into different categories. So the first one here we've got is Obscuring Ether. This is going to count as ramp, so we'll go ahead and put that into a ramp category. I'm going to make this into actually 2 categories here, just so I can kind of get a better idea of what's going on. All right, so Dream Chisel, this is another source of ramp here. Secret Plans, this is card draw for whenever things flip up. We've got one of our first morph creatures. We'll put that into its own category of morphing stuff. This one is Recursion. We'll put that into its own place. Search for a basic land, put it into your hand. Okay, so this is a pretty interesting one. It allows you to grab basic lands when you flip things up. That's close enough to card draw for me. I'll put it into that category, but we'll definitely try to have one more in the card draw category than normal. Secure Tribuilder, that's definitely ramp. Same thing with a Farseek. Den Protector, that's going to go into Recursion. It's also a flipping card. It's a morph card, so I'm not sure if we're going to put that into... Let's put that into the morph spot, because we'll try to put all the morph things here unless they do like something else. But Recursion, I don't think that's going to be as important for this deck as a morph creature would be. So morph creatures, this is a morph creature as well, yep. This is ramp, pretty interesting one too. Willbender, probably the most famous morph creature. This is morph, this is a morphing creature, this is spot removal. We've got this one's also a morph creature. Now, Scroll of Fate, this was a pretty interesting one. It manifests a card from your hand. Now, this is kind of interesting because it's an instant speed way to get out a creature from your hand onto the battlefield. If it's got morph, you can flip it immediately. If it doesn't, you can just pay the CMC. So it's one of those cards that if you're not caring about ETBs, which this deck is obviously not, this counts as kind of like a ramping effect. So we're going to put that into the ramp category for now. Now, Cloudstone Curio, I like this one. It allows us to reset our ramp, our morph creatures, so that's always pretty good for a deck like this. Another morphing creature, yes. Then we've got a Planeswalker here, Vivian, Champion of the Wilds. So this is giving things flash. Fantastic effect. The more we can have of that, I think the better off we'll be. We'll get another category here. I like being able to see the top card. Recross the paths. This allows you to reveal until you get a land guard. Put that land onto the battlefield. So this is like ramp. Yeah, this is like ramp. Sometimes you can get it back into your hand, so let's put that there. Cultivate's pretty cool. Morph creature here as well. This one's also a morph creature. We got plenty of morph creatures so far, 11 so far. Even having more would be nice. Right into being. This one allows you to manifest one of the top cards of your library. So I guess, yeah, it's a tough one. Do we put that with the morph stuff? I think so. I think we put that with morph. We've got Riptide Survivor, that's another morph creature. Leadership Vacuum. Okay, so this one is almost like removal. So let's put that with the removal section for right now and see if we can get some more good stuff there. This one allows you to manifest stuff. I'll put that there. That's probably close enough. More ramp. Now we've got Mystic Forge. Works really well with a morph deck because you can morph things off the top of your deck. At first, I didn't think so. I thought like the top card had to be a colorless card in order for you to cast it, but that's not how it works. It's only colorless spells. So if you're casting something as a morph spell, that counts as a colorless spell, so you'll be able to cast it that way. I think it's bugged on Magic Online, but that's how it works in paper because there's a ruling on Mystic Forge's Gatherer page, if I remember correctly. So Mystic Forge, definitely going to go into the card draw section. We've got card draw from our Kadena, so we don't need to play a ton more card draw, but we can play some more, I think. We'll do this reclamation. Now, this one's pretty good. If you're playing already a lot of things that allow you to flash stuff out, because that's what we're hoping to do anyways, then that's just going to be a really good thing that synergizes with that. So I'm going to put that into a new category here of like things that care about having flash. Because the more things we have with flash, I think the better off this deck will be. We got some more card draw here. Bane of the Living, that's another morph card. No, also counts as a board wipe, which is pretty interesting. We've got a board wipe here with Washout. Pretty nice because most of your cards that aren't flipped up, well, literally all of your cards that are not flipped up are going to be colorless. So no matter what color you choose, Washout won't hit your own stuff. That's another morphing thing. This is morphing as well. We got morph here. This one is a card draw for morph, so I like that one there. This one's morph. Now, we'll take a look, before we go through all this other stuff, we will take a look through all of these morph creatures because I want to see what they actually do. Because some of them might actually be important for us to use in other things. This one allows you to manifest creatures from other players. I'm going to put that with recursion because I think that's where that makes more sense. Lots of morph creatures, which is what this deck is really all is caring about. So we might actually put another category for manifesting. Might be what we actually do here, just because I feel like there's just so much stuff that's for manifest. We really can't just put it with all the morph stuff. Those things are good with our commander. Manifest, it's fine, but it's not going to be like good with the commander in the same way. This one cares about putting things face down. Didn't we have something like that? We had Cloudstone Curio. That's close enough for me. Ixodron, kind of the same idea. It's also a board wipe. Let's put it with the board wipes, actually. We'll put that there. Vesuvian Shapeshifter. This is another morphing thing. Ooh, Gift of Doom. One of my favorites, personally, in terms of morph. But that's, again, probably because I like enchantments so much. I don't know why I've got this thing about enchantments. All right, we've got Overwhelming Splendor. This one's a good way to win the game at some point, because that's kind of how games end. So we'll put that into its own category here of winning the game. Next thing we'll do here, Seaborn Muse goes with the Wilderness Reclamation. That definitely seems like an effect that would kind of fit into the same area there. This is going to be in this category. Windgrace's Judgment, that's going to go with a spot removal. And then lastly, the Ethereal Ambush, going to go here with the manifest stuff. Now, like I mentioned before, I do want to put two categories for manifest stuff. So let's just go ahead and do that here. So Ice Feather Aven. This is returning creatures to the hand. This one is doing recursion. This one is destroying an artifact or enchantment. Okay. This one is destroying a creature with power 3 or greater. This is changing the target of a spell or ability. This one is turning... this is countering a spell. That's not bad. We got Stratus Dancer. That's countering an instant or sorcery. Let's take a look here. Kadena Silencer. Counter all abilities. So that's another pretty good one. This one I like because... it's whenever a permanent you control is turned up, you get to return this from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you got to keep bringing that back over and over and over. And having Death Touch, that's pretty good. All right, Grim Hair Specs, that counts as card draw as well. So we're technically up to 7 card draw then. Short Crasher Elemental. This is a self-flickering thing. It's a pretty interesting one. I kind of like it. Because it also allows you to flicker it onto the battlefield. You get it down, face down, you get to draw a card off of that. So I kind of like that one here. This is a manifest. I am going to make a new category here for manifesting things because I think that is going to be a little bit more helpful. We can see things a little bit better. Discard 2, draw 3, so that's a little bit of card draw as well, but not repeatable. Exile it in the top card of your library in a face-down pile. Shuffle that pile, then manifest those cards. I like this one. This is another source of manifesting. And this is going to be pretty nice with our ability here from Kadena. We won't get to take advantage of the first ability, but the second ability will definitely work. We can keep those babies face down. Actually, please don't take that out of context. That's not what I not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Well, let's just keep going, okay? I think we were stuck at no, we did this one. Salt Road Ambushers. Whenever another permanent you control is turned face up, if it's a creature, put 2+1/+1 counters on it. I like this one. It makes those creatures a little bit bigger. Kind of like it. Destroy Artifact or Enchantment. That's good. This is a board wipe. So we're technically up to 3 board wipes. Unblinking Blood allows us to do some scrying. Monastery. This is so hard to keep track of this. Monastery Lore Master. Target non... This is Recursion. Okay, that's kind of cool. We got Recursion. We've got another counter spell, which is always nice. Weaver of Lies. Morph abilities other than Weaver of Lies face down. So like that allows us to, you know, turn our things back down, and we can use some get some advantage off of that. Brine Elemental. Each opponent skips their next untap step. This one is pretty good. If you've got a way, there's a name of it. I think it was like Pickle Combo or something like that, because this was called Brine Elemental. There's a way to keep having this flipped down, and then you just keep flipping it up every turn. What was the name of that combo? You know, I'm kind of interested. Let me look it up. I'll be right back. Okay, so I found the one for Brine Elemental. This, the Pickles Lock combo is usually done with Vesuvan Shapeshifter. However, it can be done with other things as well. So the way this one works is when you have it enter the battlefield, if you've got the Pickles, the Brine Elemental, where'd it go? Brine Elemental untapped, or face up rather. So you've got this face up. You have the Vesuvan Shapeshifter come in as a copy of it, face down. If you do until it's turned face down. Copy of the creature. Yeah, so what you do is you have this coming as a copy face down, then you unmorph the Vesuvan Shapeshifter for 2 mana. And so it will, as it unmorphs, it will become a copy of the Brine Elemental. I know I'm kind of butchering this combo, but the idea is you have Vesuvan Shapeshifter go face down every turn, and then every turn you also flip it up and make the copy of Brine Elemental, which will trigger that ability of when it's turned face up, each opponent skips their next untap step. And so if you can keep playing, here in this case, 2 mana, you can make each opponent not be able to untap. Now, I did mention you can do this with other things as well. You can also do this with Ixidor. So you can turn your Brine Elemental face down this way and then untap it. But instead of having to pay 2 mana, you have to pay 10 mana. 3 for this ability, and then 7 for the Morph ability. Obviously, you can also do Cloudstone Curio. You played on any creature. Let's say you played on a 1-drop or something. You return the Brine Elemental to your hand, play it out there for a morph cost, unmorph it. So for 14 mana, you can go for it that way. So yeah, there are other ways to do it. Obviously, I'm sure there's plenty others. But Vesuvan Shapeshifter is the one that makes the most sense. So so it looks like Unspokenblood definitely has that one here in this deck. 1,000 Winds, when it's turned face up, return all other tapped creatures to their owner's hands. That's not bad. Another board wipe here. So we are up to 4 board wipes. This is a manifesting creature. We are going to move that here into this manifest creature pile. Again, like I mentioned, it's not going to be a huge deal, but the fact that we can use that to keep track of what's going to be for free and then what's not, we can kind of do a little bit more working with that. So next up is an Ethereal Ambush. This allows us to manifest the top 2 cards of our library, so we can basically get some card advantage off of that as well. Chrome Shell Crab. Exchange control of target creature you control, target creature and opponent control. So that's a little bit of theft. I enjoy that myself. Vesuvan Shapeshifter, that's going to be the clone version. We kind of talked about that already. Gift of Doom. The reason I like this one is if someone wants to destroy one of our creatures, we can sacrifice one of our manifested lands, for example, and then just put the Gifts of Doom onto that creature, give it indestructible, and now it's got Death Touch too, so that's also pretty good. Another way we can get around maybe some big creature attacking us. It can go pretty big there. We can get rid of that creature that's attacking us with the Indestructible and the Death Touch together. This is going to get pretty big from our face-down creatures on the battlefield, so that's always pretty nice. Then lastly, we've got the Whisperwood Elemental. We do need to have a lot of our creatures faced up in order to use this, but that's another source of manifest, so I don't mind using that here. So, at first glance, how am I feeling about this deck? I feel like this is a pretty solid deck. There are a few important cards I think would be very, very good in a deck like this that I'll definitely be recommending. That I don't think that you could really build a deck like this without. But But other than that, like there's not that many. There's not actually. I can't see any cards here. Besides some spot removal that I'm like kind of iffy on. I can't see anything here that I would probably take out. So I feel like if we do drop some spot removal, we want to make sure that we have at least 4. So I can take out at least 2 here. I want to include the Leyline of Anticipation and the what's the other one here? Leyline of Anticipation and Vidalcan Ori. I think those 2 cards we absolutely have to have in this deck. You really can't afford to not include those here. Because if you've got those in your hand, with Kadena Slinking Sorcerer, the way it works, you get it down, you get the commander down. On your turn, you cast a free morph spell, draw a card. Opponent number 1, on their turn, free morph spell, draw a card. Opponent number 2, free morph spell, draw a card. Opponent number 3, free morph spell, draw a card. So you really get to quadruple the output that you have with your creatures. One of the reasons why I think Vivian will be a fantastic card in here, but another reason is I think it's actually pretty good for us to have that ability to actually go for having those morph creatures. That's also why I'm not going to take out any one of these morph cards. These all are going to stay in here. That's the only reason we want to include these types of cards. This one only cares about creatures, but some of these are non-creature. Like we can see here, Gift of Doom doesn't actually count as a creature. So we want to make sure, does it actually? Actually, you know what? I think it does. Kind of going back to the same idea with the Mystic Forge, because when you're casting the morph spell, it'll be cast as a creature. Vivian will give it flash, I think. Pretty sure that's how that works. So at the moment, I feel like the way I want to do this here is add those 2 cards in. Add another land as well. I think that's going to be an important part of this. We don't need to actually add in a specific land. We can actually add in Carpet of Flowers. That's a card that when I see a green deck not playing it, I always say, why not? It's always a card that I enjoy playing. You'll always be seeing opponents playing plenty of islands. So it's very rare that you won't see an opponent playing an island. And so Carpet of Flowers, basically just as good as a land. And so Carpet of Flowers is going to be the first one I'll recommend. Vidalcan Ori, like I said, I don't think you can play a deck like this without it. And sure, Unspokenblood might be trying to build a deck where they're not using like some of these really, really powerful synergies and suggestions. But actually something happened recently at school, I know it sounds totally unrelated, that made me think about changing the way that I recommend things for deck doctors. So for those of you that don't know, I'm in optometry school right now, and I'm learning about different things related to the eyes, about glasses, about ocular disease, about contact lenses, working with kids. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. We're learning about visual perception, psychophysics. We're just learning about so much stuff here. I'm enjoying it, honestly. It is tough. It's a lot of material, and it's been kind of wearing me down, but I still enjoy it. I still think it's a lot of interesting things. And in one of my classes, this was my optics class, we had a professor there who is an optometrist, and he said this: when your patient comes to you, they're expecting that you are going to give them the best suggestions. Sometimes your patients won't be able to afford what you suggest. So, I think you'll need this and this type of glasses. And your patients say, well, I don't have insurance. I can't afford that. At that point, you can then modify what you want to say. But you never want to start, your conversation suggesting the budget options, because they're coming to you expecting that you're going to give them the best of the best. What is going to be their top of the line possibility? And that's what they want to hear from you. If they can't afford it, they'll tell you about that, and then as a good doctor, you'll be able to give them better advice that way. But it kind of changed my mind in how I do deck doctors as well. No longer am I going for, I'm trying to anticipate what somebody's wanting to go for, and if I can see they're trying to do this, then I'm going to try to not do that. But I think what would be better is here is the best option. If that's not what you're looking for, let me know, and I'll give you a better suggestion instead. But I think it's much better to say, I want to give you the best top-of-the-line product, and in this case, it's going to be a deck doctor. So Vidalcan Ori, Leyline of Anticipation, those are very powerful in this deck, and I think they're definitely going to be good to include here as well. Carpet of Flowers, Vidalcan Ori, Leyline of Anticipation, all of those are great. Now, one additional thing that I haven't talked about just yet is we have Kadena. Sure, it's card draw, but you can never have too much card draw, especially in a deck that needs to have a lot of mana to be able to flip these back up. That's going to be a huge deal. We already see a lot of mana here. I actually wouldn't mind adding even a few more, to be honest. We're going to drop, let me see here. Out of these, I probably want to drop these 2. These are the most expensive sources of spot removal that I think we can probably drop. I'd like to add in maybe 2 or 3 more sources of ramp, 2 or 3 more sources of card draw as well. And then after that, we can probably drop a few things here that are not going to be as helpful. Cloudstone Curio, I do kind of like it because we can bring back things back to our hand. External Reality Shape Sculptor, I think that's also pretty good. Ghastly Conscription, I mean, this is another source of manifesting, so I can put that with the manifest cards, which are over here. It's off to the side a little. Let's move it there. Oh, that's not enough. We got to move it one more time. There we go. The Road of Return, though, this one's pretty interesting. We can return a permanent and our commander from the command zone. So if something happens to Kadena over and over, she gets taken care of. This will help us, but would we rather have this card or just more ramp? I think it's pretty obvious that having more ramp would be better. And recursion recursion is not bad. It's good. Don't get me wrong. But I think we need to make more room. Let's just go ahead and do that. Try to find some more room for some more ramp and some more card draw. We've also got the Death Sprout. That in a way kind of counts like ramp. But we're not going to include into that category because we want to make sure we got even more stuff than that. Next question is, do we drop the manifest cards? And that's a tough one because each one of our face-down creatures entering for Kadena will allow us to draw a card. So let me think about this one. We'll get to draw one card off of this one. We'll draw, let me see here, 2 cards off of that. Teamer War Shaman, this one is, it's going to create 1. So we'll draw 1 card off of it. And then it's allowing us to fight with our creatures. I don't know how many of our creatures are really that big, though. But we get to draw 1 card off of that. Let's just put these. Let's make a category here of things that allow us to draw 1 card compared to the things that allow us to draw 2 cards. Those are kind of nice. Ethereal Ambush, that is also pretty nice. It's instant speed too, which is kind of cool. Whisperwood Elemental. This is going to be each end step we're going to draw a card as well. This one's pretty good because we can actually just do a ton of manifesting. So you know what? Let's just drop these 2, and that should give us room for a little bit more of what else we're looking for here. So let's go ahead and move this here. 1, 2. We'll put this into the drop category. So we've got room for 2 more cards here. Is that it? Is that all we can afford to add in? I hope not. I mean, I'd like to add in some more, but I don't think we can. I think this is just in a situation where I don't want to drop any of our morph creatures. If I could, I'd add even more, but I don't think that's possible here. So yeah, you know what? Let's just add in 1 more of each. And so what are going to be good effects for us to add in for this? So we've already got the Mystic Forge. That allows us to draw cards off the top. Do we want to have another source of card draw off the top? Could be good. It could definitely be good. I'm thinking of Future Sight. Future Sight could be a good one to add in here. Yeah, you know what? I kind of like that one. Future Sight would not be bad. Is there anything else that would be nice? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much it when it comes to this type of stuff. Let me go ahead and open up a new tab here, though, and see if I can find something that would be pretty helpful for us. I'll be right back as I get my my thing opened up. So just give me 1 second, and I'll get my browser opened. Okay, and we are back, so we are ready to go. I've got Scryfall open just in case I need it, but what I'd like to do first is I'm going to take a look at all of my cards that I have here for card draw. I like having a nice, easily referenceable source of card draw. Phyrexian Arena is a fantastic card, and for good reason. I mean, it's pretty popular, and people kind of play it because of how good it is. I do wonder, though, if there's any other things that care about, like Morph or Manifest. So I'm going to go ahead and sort this part by A to Z, and then scroll down to Manifest or Morph. I guess either way it's going to be in the M section. Or face down. I'll look at the F section if I don't find anything there. But yeah, here it is. Morph. So Federal Runecaster, Secret Plans, and Kadena. We've already got all 3 of those here. So that's going to be it for that. I do like the idea of going for Phyrexian Arena over the Future Sight. But let me just see if there's anything else that cares about colorless spells. Because that's the whole reason that our card Mystic Forge is working in the first place. So only to cast colorless spells. We can have an additional mana from Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. This is outside of our colors. We've got both of these 2 cards. Yeah, so that's it for that. Yeah, you know what? Let's drop the Future Sight. I do like the idea of going for the Phyrexian Arena a little bit more. So we'll go for that here. Looks like I've got just a little bit of skipped frames. Hopefully that will be done by now. Alright, so we've got the Phyrexian Arena in here. We've got room for 1 more. I'd like to add in another source of ramp, but I'm not sure what exactly to add in. Is there anything else like Seaborn Muse or Wilderness Reclamation? I don't think so. Let's just double check here. So we're going to go for things that are in our color combination, and we're going to look for things that say either untap all lands or untap all permanents. So let's do all. Actually, let's do it like this: all and land, or let's just do all or each. So that's what I want to do first: all or each, and then land or permanent. And I could say permanents, but I actually want to keep it because it could be each permanent or each land. We're going to look for things that are not, what's the word? We're going to look for things that are not, or things that are permanents. We want to look for things that are permanents because we don't want to have a instant or sorcery that does that. It doesn't work out the same. So Sword of Feast Famine and Beer Umbra, both of these are going to be okay, but not that great. I like Awakening. Now, this is a little bit of a risk because you're a little bit... you're putting yourself in a position where you might actually be giving your opponents too much mana, but I think it's worth it in a situation like this because just the opportunity to have that much mana is going to be super good. So let's grab Awakening. We've already got the Vidalcan Ori and the Leyline of Anticipation, and we didn't have to drop any one of our morph creatures. We'll have to drop 2 manifest creatures, but both of those, you know, were not as good as the other ones. So let's go ahead and add in, and I gotta find the one that I don't have because I gotta bring us down this quantity down to 0, and I'm pretty sure that is it. I think that's it. We've got everything that we need for this deck. So yeah, let's go ahead and add in the Awakening. A lot of Awakening being used here in recent times, but we are looking for a very old card. Yeah, let's go down to the bottom. Where is it? So there's some more of our promo cards. There it is, Awakening. Perfect. So we can add that one in. And that's it for this deck. We're dropping Windgrace's Judgment, Casualties of War, Road of Return, Teamer, War Shaman, and Right into Being to add in Carpet of Flowers, Vidalcan Ori, Leyline of Anticipation, Phyrexian Arena, and Awakening. So thank you so much for joining me for this deck, Doctor. Thank you so much, especially to Unspoken Blood, for being a long-time patron of mine. Really appreciate it. He's a good friend of mine, good buddy, and he helps me out a lot with the channel as well. So thank you so much, especially to Unspoken Blood. But thank you guys for joining me. I had a lot of fun doing this deck, Doctor. If you're interested in Kadena, definitely ask Unspoken Blood for their deck list. They'll definitely be happy to share that with you. And I will see you guys next time. Stay awesome, everybody.